Well, Jamie, we got an email today from a communications specialist with the school system telling us that they issued a release that shows the steps they have taken to ensure their buildings are safe. The release was posted on the school system's website. It lists 5 examples of steps that they have taken, including getting some of the, quote, best experts in the field of mold remediation to provide testing and advice, accelerated a multi-million-dollar investment in a new HVAC system at Glenwood, established an indoor environmental testing protocol, created an indoor environmental quality advisory committee, and hired another contractor for indoor environmental testing. It also mentioned an interview that we did with Delegate Warren Miller, saying their actions are in line with his position. The letter says specifically, ideally, these actions would have been given greater coverage in the media rather than ignored in favor of sensational reporting. Now, I emailed the school system and the superintendent on Monday, telling them specifically of the interview with the delegate and his concerns. I told them I want to give the school system a chance to speak to some of those concerns, and they never responded to me. Now, Delegate Warren Miller joins us live tonight to address some of the issues that were brought up. Now, Delegate, what were some of your initial reactions to reading this release that came out today?
It's surprising, to say the least. I know that multiple new media outlets have contacted the school system, as have many of my parents, or many parents that live out in the community. They're very concerned about this, and to date, they haven't heard much. So it's good that we're starting to get communication out of Howard County Public Schools, but there's still a lot of concerns, not only about mold, but also about transparency and communication.
No, they specifically said, you know, saying that there's a lack of concern on the part of the school system is unfair and entirely inconsistent with the truth. What's your response to them saying that?
Well, it's hard to follow all the different stories. Take the middle school, for example, in Glenwood. The problem may have started in 2010, according to one storyline. It may have started in 2013, according to another storyline. It's 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, if you do the math. And in that time period, they didn't do much about the mold. This year, right before school opened, after parents angrily contacted the school system, they did replace the HVAC system. That's one step in the right direction. But mold has still been making its presence known in the school building, and parents don't believe they've done enough. And the really disappointing thing has been the communication.
And you've reached out to the school system. Talk a little bit about kind of what you've done to kind of get the message out.
I reached out initially to make sure that they were going to do mold remediation in regards to Glenwood. And what I received back was talk about the HVAC system, the replacement, and how that would resolve it. And I think, you know, you have to actually determine if that's really going to fix it or if there are more concerns. And the biggest indicator here, there are still parents with kids going to the school that have allergy symptoms that appear to be mold related. That's what their allergists are telling them about their kids. And if mold's present and it's causing a problem with health, it needs to be dealt with.
And what do we do? Where do we go from here?
So over the next several months, we have legislation, and hopefully, you know, Channel 2 News and other news outlets continue to put the pressure on, and it needs to become apparent to the superintendent or staff and the school board that parents are very concerned about this, and that better communication, better transparency, answering public information requests are what are needed in the situation. Waiting a month or two to get back to people, I don't think that's very professional. So I think there's a lot that can happen there. We've got some legislation coming up, both dealing with public information requests and the composition of the Howard County School Board. Our delegation is going to look at. I'm sure we'll talk about this in November. Session starts in January for us, and hopefully we'll get somewhere with that.